Hey, this is Stephen Amell, and you are listening to Tomorrow's Legends, the podcast. Don't fail your city.
Rushville, Nebraska. A dusty, dead-end, nowhere town. That is, until 4 dead aliens are discovered, and Hal Jordan arrives with his trainee John Stewart to investigate. Now, it's an intergalactic mystery. Welcome to DC's Lanterns, brought to you by Tomorrow's Legends.
Yes, hello, that is right. We are here for Lanterns, Season 1, Episode 1, titled The Pilot. Hello, Guardians of the Light, the Lanter Corps, the Ring Bearers. I guess we need to find a new name for this fandom, too, every time we start a new show.
Yeah.
So I'm just making some guesses.
We need a new name.
Yeah.
So we are here to cover the inaugural, the premiere, the opening episode of DC's Lanterns, and it's an exciting time because it's been a minute since we've had a brand new live-action superhero show to talk about. So I am the brightest day Flash.
And I am the darkest night, Harley Quinn.
Oh.
And I'm back on Earth to help empower the Green Lanterns. I'm X-Force 11.
Nice.
Hello, Legends.
And Gideon is with us too. So I gotta ask, guys, that's the first time you heard it. What do you think of the new intro?
Dan just does a great job. It was so fun.
He does a really great job. It has like that Western almost meets like Riders on the Storm kind of feel.
Mm-hmm.
it was good. It was really good. I like it.
Apparently that's the opening intro for Lanterns. That's where I found it. I went searching for it, and that is the opening theme song for it.
I mean, that's like kind of like what I get. I mean, it feels a little bit like a Western. It also feels like Riders on the Storm is about to start playing. I don't know. That's just what I hear. But it was good. I dig it.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Yeah, I'll have to let him know. I was quite tickled when he got that put together for us in time, because I sent it with him with like 4 days ago.
Oh,
I said,
wow.
I don't know if you got time to fit this in, bud, but if you can.
Wow.
And he pulled it off, so. Good stuff. So we are here, and this is the new show on Cybercast Network. It's going right along with Legends of Tomorrow, Stargirl, Superman and Lois, X-Men 97, Jupiter's Legacy, The Tomorrow People, and now Lanterns, as I said. And then also on the network is Dive Into DC. In case you're new, in case you're checking out Lanterns, you want to hear a podcast about it, I don't know if we're the only one out there. We might be the first. I don't know. Who knows? But we also have on the network Dive Into DC, and that's with Silverbox and Green Butterfly, and they are covering My Adventures with Superman Season 3. And then there's also The Mandalorian. If you're into Star Wars content, we cover all the Disney Plus stuff and movies, and we will be talking about the Ahsoka Season 2 trailer breakdown soon, as well as the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. That will be coming out to Disney Plus shortly. So we're kind of waiting for more people to watch it because it wasn't very successful in the theaters. So. And then lastly and newly is Firefly Still Flying, and we're getting revved up for the new Firefly animated series that basically is Season 2 of Firefly. And there is a very small update from Nathan Fillion, and I'll be talking about that once we get back on about that. So there you go. All the shows on the network in case you were into any of that stuff. It looks like we've got some news. Let's get into some news.
We interrupt this podcast for a special report.
All right, first up, Lanterns is sitting at 95% and 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, and with the users and the critics, and an 8.1 on IMDb.
I just updated those for you, Jeff, because I looked at it. Your numbers are different, and I went and looked, and they've been fluctuating. So that's the newest numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, and raked in 9.3 million viewers in the first 3 days, blowing away everything at HBO Max and all of the Marvel TV shows except for Loki Season 2.
Wow.
So, it's just blowing everything out there as far as people watching.
I think people are excited about
lie.
it. Yeah.
I'm shocked to see that number. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Yep. So, Tom King, one of the writers behind it in the comics and that kind of stuff, says that episode 3 will be an episode that will tell the origin story kind of in full of John Stewart. And it's pulled from fragments from Neil Adams' first issue, from Dwayne McDuffie's stories in Justice League Unlimited,
okay, cool.
and the Cosmic Odyssey that Jeff Johns did, and Rebirth. So they took all of that stuff,
Oh, wow.
Right.
and put it together to kind of form, because Justice League and Unlimited changed John Stewart. He wasn't, he was not in the Marines before the animated series, and he was an architect and that kind of stuff. So they're really basing this character on all of those things. So it's kind of going to give us more insight to that. So
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Interesting.
yeah,
Cool. And that's it for the news today.
yep.
Awesome stuff. All right, well, let's get into ratings of our show. So if you guys are new, because I have a feeling there might be some new listeners to our show who's never listened to our podcast before. They're looking for Lanterns content, and they might stumble upon us. So we just have to make sure we promote it and market it properly. But the way we break down our show, we come in with news, and then we do our ratings for the episodes, plus a brief, kind of overview of what we thought of the episode as a whole. And then we dive into the show, and we just start breaking down everything we saw in the episode. We've got favorite scenes, and we've got feedback coming after that. So that's basically the way the show goes. We've been doing this for, we're going on 12 years now. So a long time. We developed the format. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. And what we really want is to have any new listeners definitely sending in an email or voicemail. And you'll find out how to do that at the end of the show when we get to that section, because we want you guys to be part of it. We want to hear your experiences and your likes and dislikes, all the stuff. We don't hide from any of it, and we don't ignore any of your feedback. We definitely will play or read it all. That is our mandate for the show.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's get into our ratings and impressions of the show.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
Well, being a Blue Lantern, I'm a little biased, but I like this one a lot. I give it 9 mysteries in 2 decades.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you do it, a pilot. It felt real and gritty. I fell in love with the Green Lanterns thanks to John in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited animated series. And when I started reading the comics, because of that, Hal was dead, and it was Kyle Rayner who was the Lantern at that time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was different from everything I was used to. So, Hal is cocky and bitter here, and you've got John who's dealing with his own issues. And I thought the casting overall was really good, and I love the mysteries set across the decades. And honestly, after watching this the first time, I could hardly sleep due to thinking about the questions and theories. And that has not happened to me really since the Lost days, where I am thinking about, like, okay, this could happen and this could happen, and what if, it left me that way. And so that's why I rated it so high. I mean, I do like Lanterns content, but mainly I love mysteries. Like I'm a big, Masterpiece mystery fan and UK mysteries and that kind of stuff. And so this drug me in with both of those mysteries happening.
Nice.
So I am curious, X-Force, because of the type of fellow you are, how were you with it having so much swearing in this?
The swearing, I can, I don't like it, but the profanity that they're using is not as, there are some things that are worse than others. It's taking the Lord's name in vain would be worse, but it's gritty, it's real, it's the world that these people live in, and I'm gonna be okay. I think the bigger line that I get is when they start using either violence or sex or profanity because they can.
It doesn't really
we're
fit.
on cable, we have to do everything because we're on cable. We can do everything. So that's why I didn't particularly like The Boys. I know that's a whole send up and a satire of the comic industry and superheroes, but that was just way too over the top.
It is.
So so
okay, cool. I'm just wondering. I'm sure it will come up as the show goes on a little bit. It depends. I mean, quite often in the pilot they just want to do a little shock value. Maybe it'll keep going, maybe it won't. I mean, Game of Thrones did the same thing. In the first couple episodes of the first season, there was a lot of sex and weird stuff, and you're just like, what the? And everybody complained about it, but then it slowly pittered away, and they didn't hardly have any of it anymore as the show went on. So, yeah, I don't know, but we'll see. Harley?
All right. I gave this one 8 slow-burning pilots because, man, I feel like pilots are so hard to do. They have so much work to do because they're setting up this world. They're setting up an entire series. They're trying to capture the audience attention. They're trying to keep everybody hooked. Yeah. It's just like a lot going on. And overall, I feel like they kind of did all of this decently well. They took a unique approach. They were telling the story across like 3 distinct periods of time. Yeah. And they left us hanging with a mystery that can clearly be drawn out for as long as they need it to be drawn out. It definitely felt like, we saw the beginning and the end all in the same pilot. It did slow down at parts for me throughout the episode just because they had so much exposition because they really needed to set that scene as the pilot and do that world building. And so, I don't know. I also kind of wonder if they're also trying to set that tone for the show a little bit. They want it to be like a little bit more like slowed down, like a little bit more of like a slow burn. It did to me have a justified vibe to it. Of course it's got aliens and superpowers tossed in, but I was getting that undercurrent, that justified vibe. I was like, okay, all right. I do think it's a really interesting choice to have like this older curmudgeonly Hal and then this like very stoic John Stewart. I don't know. Personally, like as the series goes on, it would be nice for me to see like a little bit more action in my superhero show. But based on how they've kind of set things up in the pilot, I am expecting this one to be a little bit slower paced, maybe a little bit more cerebral, which I don't have a problem with. I don't know. I guess I just was a little bit surprised by it.
Yeah. Well, I think I know what you're talking about because I tell you, I have been all over the map with this one. I've gone through the show 3 times now. I watched it once, and I watched the second time with, to get my notes ready, and then I kind of went through it again, just kind of skipping through and looking at different scenes the third time. And my rating's gone up and down, and I didn't know where to land, and I looked at my score. I landed on a 7, but I'm going to maybe go 7.5. Small, dusty towns as backdrops. Now, this was a decent start, and kind of similar to you, Harley. Like, I ultimately want way more lantern hijinks and powers. I mean, making can openers and things like that just doesn't cut it for me, and that's mostly what lowers my score, because that's really all it is. He made a dollar bill and he made a can opener, and then he blocked the bomb. Like, I want lanterns to be a little more flashy, because any lantern story centers around what they can do with the rings. It's flashy, it's imaginative, and it's fun. And sadly, this missed all of that. Taking the most colorful effects spectacle of a superhero that the League has and dulling them right down to almost nothing is kind of a downer for me. But there was story, there was intrigue, there was mystery, there was fantastic acting, there's great actors, and I think probably the best, if not, I'm pretty sure this is the only live-action John Stewart we've ever had, although we all wanted Diggle to become John Stewart. He simply was perfect in the role. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff that brings my score way up, which helps me want to watch more of it. But there's another but. I have to admit, like, when I watched it the second time through, it lost a lot of that initial spark, and I was quite actually bored, like a lot bored the second time through. So that's a big dramatic switch between viewings. So I was so excited. Yeah, it's lanterns, it's live action. Woo, it's really good. And, and I was really into what was going on with the story and the acting. But on the second time through, I was just like, wow, did this drag out? Like, this was really, really slow. And you say slow burn, Harley, like I don't know. It was just like, oh man, like I was having trouble finding where I wanted to write for notes in some of the sections. So that's what really made me go up and down, up and down. So we're going to see where this one goes in a couple episodes. I mean, my feelings were all over the place after the 2 viewings. And I want to warn you everybody out there is listening to us, I don't know if you guys found it or not, there's this DC or HBO, somebody released a season-long trailer on YouTube that's like over 4 minutes long, and absolutely skip it. I watched it, I got maybe 3 or so minutes in, and I had to stop because it gives everything away. Like, I mean, what the hell? Everything. Why would they release this? It shows you exactly what the character development is going to be through the entire season. It shows you where the season is going, what the story is going to be, and I'm just shocked that they put that out there. It was very disappointing for me, and hopefully it didn't ruin too much, but I feel like it's ruined where this season is going, because some of the parts they showed, I'm like, that's got to be end of the season. That whatever they just showed me, that's got to be near end of the season, something going on. So I'm a big boo to the idiots who decided that was a good idea to release that long of a trailer to try to get people amped up when you give away so much. So don't go looking for it. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I was like, oh my God. If that's where Hal and John are going after 8 episodes, please tell me this was only like the first couple episodes you were showing us, because I'm speculating. But anyway, so that's where I end up, 7.5, because I was so up and down. So we'll see. I still loved a lot of it, and was just disappointed in the lack of Lantern's flashiness. And I did see there was a TikTok video, and I sent it to you guys. I don't know if you guys watched it or not. It was a TikTok or Instagram reel. A guy was just basically, he was kind of ripping into it, but he was talking about how the Lanterns are the most colorful hero-based story in the entire DC, because they have the entire gamut of the rainbow, the purple, the yellow, the red, the magenta. Like, every lantern has a specific color, every color has a specific emotion that it's tied to. The Lanterns are all about colors, and he was complaining about this show, how they dulled everything down to nothing but grays and browns and tans and sandy colors. They took all the color out of a lantern, and somebody went in and I guess recolorized Hal Jordan to be wearing a lot more green, and it just looked leaps and bounds better. And I had to agree with that. I'm like, yes, let's put some of that color in. Just because they're in a dusty dead-end nowhere town, like our intro says, I think Hal would really stand out if he came in there with a lot of his green and just was like, yeah, I'm Green Lantern. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Let's get into our discussion points and see where it goes.
Gather together from the cosmic reaches of the universe.
All right, so let's talk about the timeline. When does this take place? And Jeff, you found a graphic somewhere. Maybe Silver Fox posted this on the Dive into DC page. I can't remember where it came from, but it's basically a graphic listing all the years and all the TV shows and movies that are out by DC right now, and it gives you an idea where Lanterns is. So maybe you can run through this for us.
Yeah, so this was good because I had started to do a timeline, but Silver Fox posted it and I saw it elsewhere online. Yeah. So it's got 1986, Hal Jordan becomes the Green Lantern. Mm-hmm. And 1995, Krypton is destroyed. So we get 2016, the first era of Lanterns. 2022, we've got Superman's public debut. We've got Clayface in there sometime. That's yet to be determined. That movie. We've got Creature Commandos season 1 in 24. Superman, of course, happened in 25. Peacemaker season 2 in 25 as well. We had Supergirl this year. We've got the Lanterns, quote unquote, flash forward scene, our timeline, our present time. And then we've got 2027, Man of Tomorrow. And the only thing that I would add is in 96 is when we see the kind of initial scene with John, where he learns how, Hal's kind of introducing himself to the world as Hal Jordan.
Yes,
So that's kind of added in there. So
yeah, okay. So it's kind of in the middle of a lot of that stuff. So this Hal Jordan was flying around this town or this area as Lantern even before Superman came around. He's essentially more like the new superhero. So people knew him before they knew Superman.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of crazy when you think about it, huh?
Interesting.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to kick it off by talking about the characters and break it down. We're going to talk about Hal Jordan and John Stewart and the other major supporting characters. So let's start it off with Hal Jordan, who's played by Kyle Chandler. I know him from Friday Night Lights. That's where I first got introduced to him, and he was the coach of the football team on that show, but he's been in so much stuff since. So he's a very recognizable, familiar face by now. And kind of like what you're saying, so in 1996... one of the early clips we see, he's being interviewed for the first time on 60 Minutes, which was a very popular news show back then, if you guys remember 60 Minutes. And part of his story is being told is that he made his existence known to the world back in 1986 when he stopped a meteor from destroying a city. So I thought that was kind of cool. We're getting this news interview that young John Stewart was actually watching with his brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought that was a neat way to kind of introduce him,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's they said, I watched a little bit of the official video podcast of the show, and they said, they didn't want to do origin stories. They wanted to jump in and have the freedom to start here, but
Right.
they had to do some introductions, and they wanted the identities to be public, in this reality, that they're doing. And so, yeah, it was very interesting of going out and putting yourself on the line and saying, yeah, I'm fine with people knowing who I am. And it's kind of interesting because this is a little bit of a reversal, because John Stewart is really the one in the comics that kicked it off, because when he became Green Lantern, he refused to wear the mask. He said, listen, I'm going to be Green Lantern. I'm not going to hide behind a mask. I'm going to be who I am. So it's kind of a turn on it here, where it's Hal doing it, before John gets the ring. So that was kind of interesting.
And it's funny you mentioned the mask, because we did not see him wearing the mask at all.
No.
So I wonder if there'll be any more flashbacks to actually show the little Robin mask that he wears.
That would be interesting.
That'd be really cool. So then also during the interview, we get a very quick origin story telling from him as well, and it's pretty much accurate with what we have always known about his story. And part of it, X-Force is...
Yeah, so he was an Air Force test pilot, and he got into that because his dad was a test pilot as well, who died, and then he kind of continues on in the footsteps, and then we get the whole origin story with Abin Sur roping him in. The ring goes out, pulls him out, and then chooses him, and the ring is passed on, just like we've heard in every media there.
Yeah, so what I like that, because I actually had to look it up again just to make sure how accurate were they with the story, and the whole Abin Sur. He's the bald pink alien lantern that crashes on Earth, and before he dies, the ring has to go find its next bearer so we can pass it on. So I just like that they were very, very accurate with that and weren't going to change too much of it up, which is cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you guys are summarizing all of this, because I don't have a big background with lanterns, so it is good to know that what we're getting in the show is canon. So that's helpful for me to know.
Well, and I know some about the lanterns, but not a lot. X-Force is probably going to be our big encyclopedia here with all the lantern stuff. So, but he's always been a fun character, and what I was surprised with here in the interview is he gives away his full identity, like you're saying. Of course, that was maybe John Stewart who originally did that, but in his interview, he's like, "Hey, I'm Hal Jordan. I was a flight pilot." He says there, gives them the whole thing.
Yeah.
Now, has the world always known who he was? Do all the lanterns expose themselves, or in the comic books, nobody knew who he was?
Yeah, most of the time they are all wearing masks. All the lanterns are wearing masks. They're not really public in things like that. And so I don't know. don't have a ton of background on the history, but I don't know that he has revealed, his identity to the world. He may have later on, but I think this is new. This is definitely new.
Okay.
Interesting.
Cool.
I mean, I thought that was a good question. I mean, I obviously, I don't have this background. And so, I don't know, maybe it's just because we've been watching so much of the Justice League and the Justice League Unlimited. And John Stewart does not hide his identity.
Yeah.
And so, to me, and anytime we saw some of, the other Lanterns, it didn't really feel like they were that hidden. Now I can't recall without going back to look if they did or did not wear masks like the other Lanterns that we've seen on the Justice League card, in the animated one. But I don't know, I was feeling to me like they had set that up so that they don't necessarily hide their identity. So I was wondering, is that a Lanterns thing? But apparently not.
And of course, the interviewer asked him, did you have to go through some type of enrollment process? Did you have to get tested? What did you go? And he said, no, there's only one question that I had to pass. Are you afraid? And is that Lantern lore? I've never heard that before. Is that something part of the history, part of the character, or was that brand new in this TV show? Are you afraid? That's all they have to answer to.
So the Lanterns, power, the Green Lantern's power is willpower, but their weakness is fear, and that's the Yellow Lantern, is that. And so that would make perfect sense, asking them, are you afraid? How can you deal with fear?
Yeah.
Is the big question. And it's not like you can't ever get away from, you can't ever be afraid. Yeah. It's how you deal with fear. So that makes perfect sense of being that counterpoint to the Yellow Lantern. So you've got to be able to deal with fear because you're going to be coming up against these other Lanterns who's, uses fear as their power.
Right. Okay. Cool. That makes sense. The whole why that question would be relevant, because they're fighting against fear as their opposing opposite. Okay. Cool.
Interesting. See, these are all the things I don't know. Love this.
So, we find out through just stories that he tells and that kind of stuff in the episode that Hal says, he's basically been, from 96 to 2016, he has been working on and off the world, doing stuff here, but also doing stuff on other worlds.
Yeah.
And, he doesn't wear the suit much anymore, I guess, unless he's, off planet. But I think that tells a story about him and where he is mentally and emotionally. And, he gives the whole story about when you interview for the job that you wear a suit, and then you find out you don't have to wear the suit and tie. I think that's his perspective on things, and that gives us insight into him mentally. And then I think we've seen pictures of the suit where it's faded and it's dull. And I think that is telling us who he is. And there's a lot of speculation of where this season is going to go with his story based on some of the stories in the comics. And, maybe he has become more selfish. He's become more, cynical and things like that. And so, he wears the uniform reluctantly. So I think it gives us insight into looking at him that way, and then looking at John and how he would do it. And we get the thing with the hologram where the Lantern, he's supposed to back up his consciousness every week, and he hasn't done it for 10 years. So that tells you where his mentality is. He's got the ring, but he is not a rule follower, and I guess, that's kind of his personality of, losing his dad and being this test pilot and that kind of stuff.
I mean, that little part of it, not being a rule follower, kind of suits the Hal Jordan that I remember. Because he was a little bit crazy, a little bit daredevilish, so he doesn't really care about a lot of the rules because he's the type of guy that says you have to break the rule in order to be successful, or I have to break the laws or break the rules to prove something, right? So that part kind of suits him, and we'll come back around to his personality. I've got some more points coming up later in the notes about that. But the whole thing with the backing up of the conscience, that to me was a little bit weird. It was a weird addition to me. We've never seen anything like that before with the Green Lantern. Not that I've known. I've never known them to have to back themselves up in the ring. It's just weird. It's almost too modern for me, having to make video backups of your consciousness in the ring in case something happens. I don't know. It's a little hokey. I wasn't sure if I liked it at all. I hope it's not something that they use. It kind of came off to me they're just trying to be funny and silly. Unless it comes back around or it's brought in a lot as something that's really integral to the character or to the Lanterns, we see, maybe he's recorded a bunch of training sessions for John now, and when he's apparently dead in the future, John has to use those recordings to learn from. I don't know. Like, I want it to come back only if it's going to be important. If it's not, then please just leave it out. I didn't really like it. It was just goofy.
I don't know. I do think it was kind of like an interesting concept, though, especially if you need to like pass on information quickly. It doesn't sound like this was a practice to me when Abin Sur like passed the ring on, because he had to like give it to Hal and like he didn't tell him anything with like his dying breath. I don't think, unless so it could be a newer practice, or it could be that because that's how Hal was able to learn, because all of these like recordings were like built up in the ring, and so he could just access the most like quote like recent version to have like the most up-to-date information kind of thing, and that was how like he learned. So I could see it both ways. I could kind of see it being like maybe a newer thing as like a safeguard because of what happened with to Abin Sur, but also I could see that being like the fail safe, and that it existed all along. So
I think it translates. We hear that it gives a lot of abilities, but this would make sense. If somebody's killed and you have no clue what happened, then at least that backup is going to tell the other Lantern, whoever got it, or and even the Guardians, what happened, and give them more insight into the situation, as opposed to the Lantern's dead and you've got to figure out what's going on from there. But as far as past within the storyline, I can see a couple ways that they might use it, and so it will be interesting to see how they do that. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, how old is Hal supposed to be at this point? What are we guessing he is at this point in 2016? Because he looked like, I would guess he's in his 40s.
I have a theory.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
go for it.
Because he was a test pilot, and test pilots age out quickly for a reason. And they're typically hired out of college or straight out of college. I actually had a couple college friends who did this. So let's say, in my opinion, he was probably in his early 20s at the oldest, in his late 20s in 86. So that would actually put him in his early 60s in 2026, which makes him in his 50s in 2016.
Yeah, that seems very
that feels right
on point for me.
50s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is the point where I was saying we're going to talk about what he is like, because the way they presented this Hal Jordan to us, he's kind of washed up. He's cranky, he's sarcastic, he's disheveled. Not really likable. You gotta admit, he wasn't really likable. He had a funny edge to him, but he's not a likable human being at this point. And he's definitely not the Hal Jordan that we are used to. So I found it hard to accept him like this, because I started comparing him to, if he's in his late 40s and his early 50s, it's a similar storyline to where we got in Superman and Lois, and we saw where Clark was at his 40s, and we're like, man, he's the best dad ever, and he's great, and like we loved him. I was just a little bit shocked to see Hal end up this way at the same age, and obviously it doesn't seem like he's never been married, he doesn't have a family. Like he just seems like a cranky old bugger that nothing's ever really gone his way. He's just been alone his whole life, and it kind of hardened him, and it kind of made him this way. I don't know. What would you guys think?
I mean, I'm kind of 100% with you. I really did not like his personality at all. So I'm sure we'll get more on the why. I think you brought up a lot of really good and like valid points as to like why he is the way he is, and I can totally see that. And I think he was clearly always very egotistical, which I'm not gonna lie, I don't really love that either. But it's not kind of like surprising for someone with that much power and in that kind of like position. But the sarcastic, like kind of gruff, rude, like really can't be bothered with anything personality was just annoying. I didn't really care for it. I mean, I know clearly he's been saddled with this like trainee, right? And someone who's essentially is a kid, no less. Like, so I can see why he's got a chip on his shoulder, especially when it comes to John, even like if I don't love the way it's kind of coming across. But yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, you're a cranky dude. Like, we get it. Let's move on.
Yeah, I think, again, I think we are seeing him at a point that we haven't in other media. And we're also, what I'm going to say is there was a point in the run of comics where, because of the events in his life and what went on, the theory is like he's going to be taken over by Parallax, which is a run in. They actually did it in the Green Lantern animated series, but like it did it in there where like he was taken over by this entity that was in the Yellow Lantern and like used to like wipe out a lot of lanterns. He just became power hungry, killed a bunch of lanterns, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of theories going on that this could be a lead into that. And so whether they actually do that or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, he is unlikable and he is gruff and mean about that. And I'm not sure. We don't know yet. Like, how was he trained? Like, what was his, life like? Did he and Carol Ferris have the romance that we see in other media? And, what's going on? We don't know the truth behind what took him from here to there, and which we hopefully will get to see in some of the series. But yeah. Unlikable and gruff and that kind of stuff, and it's going to be interesting to see how they explain how he got that way, and what can change it. So,
well, I mean, if they start doing a lot of flashbacks, there's going to be a lot of de-aging tech because Kyle Chandler's actually 60 years old himself, so they are going to have to do a lot of work to make him look younger if they want to go back and show us some stuff. But we'll have to see. I mean, at this point, he's been a Lantern for 20 years in this storyline. Will we find out if he knows any of the other members of the League? I mean, I know the Justice League isn't formed yet in the new movie universe, but for the last 20 years, some of them have come. Flash is out there, and Superman is out there. Will we find out that he's actually met any of them or worked with any of them? Do you think they'll include that in the show, like even just with name drops?
I'm guessing they're going to have an interesting dance to do here. I mean, I think name drops would be the way to go personally, but I do think that they have to be careful about how closely they quote tie in with the movies. I mean, do we know if this version of Green Lantern is like officially sanctioned by the movie people? It has caused so much trouble between having like DC on TV, and maybe it was just because it was on the CW, and DC in the movies, like they weren't allowed to coincide in any way. So I don't know.
We'll see. So they have said in this particular reality that that timeline that I gave of series are all pretty much canon. So they're all a part of that. So, basically everything that they're putting out now is in the same universe except for the Batman series. That's in its own universe. But so, it's going to, they can mention, they can do the shout outs, whatever, but we also may get, who knows if there was a Justice Society like we've seen that predates, the League with some older heroes that, but I don't know. But, it will be very interesting to see. So, yeah, he is canon and part of the universe, and it's been out there that we will see Aaron as Green Lantern in the new Superman movie. Okay. So it is tied in, but how other heroes, I don't know how they're gonna do that. I think they're going to focus on these two mysteries, and we'll get some stuff, but I don't think it's going to be more than mentions maybe.
Well, you guys forget in the trailer, Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner is going to be in the show.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and
that's right.
I looked. Right. I did forget that. I looked on IMDb. He's listed to be in 8 episodes. Nathan Fillion. So I'm thinking, what? Is that a mistake or a typo or what? Because that means he's going to be a major part of this series.
How many episodes are we getting?
I think there's only 8.
So maybe that's
only one in this first one. So,
so maybe there's.
If he's a major. Sometimes they credit major characters for all of the episodes, regardless of whether they appear.
Yeah,
but just having him involved ties him
8 episodes.
It ties him into the Superman universe right away. This Hal Jordan is tied in. If Guy Gardner knows about him and they're flying around, his Justice Society is in action at the same time as this Hal Jordan has been working. So it's linked, which I'd be interested to see how they tie it all together. Because from what I've been seeing from Nathan Fillion, his Guy Gardner is going to appear in just about everything. Like they're saying he's the most cross-platform hero that DC has right now, because he's going to be in the TV shows, he's going to be in the movies, he's voicing Guy Gardner in there's a new animated series come out, he's going to be doing the voice for him. Like he's cross-platforming everything, so they're trying to link it all up for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, all right, well, that's all I got for Hal Jordan. You guys got any other points, or we'll move on to John Stewart?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about John Stewart. So we see in the beginning of the episode here, as a young boy, he was already obsessed with Green Lantern, the hero that he idolized. And I thought that was a really interesting character point for him to start off like as a 7 or 8 year old boy. He's just like, sitting on the floor watching the TV, eyes wide as saucers, just wanting every second of who this Green Lantern. So he completely idolized him already. And then he ends up being trained by him. Like it's so cool.
I mean, honestly, I was not expecting that at all. But it was kind of cool. On one hand, I was expecting him to be chosen, for that reason, just because he's he's gung ho, he's so into the Green Lantern lore. So I feel, I was like, okay, somebody somewhere kind of knows that, but then again, somebody somewhere does kind of know that, as we'll continue to get into, but I wasn't expecting it to go the way that they kind of laid it out, if that makes sense.
It's just interesting because I was looking at this and seeing that, and how much of an impact, you compare the impact that Hal had on him and his dad as well, which we'll get into, looking at the difference of the heroes that he looks up to, and again how he's willing to to dig in and learn more about Hal. So
so then going back again to the opening scene that we've got in the show, we find out that he has 2 brothers. He is the middle of the 3 of them, and I found it kind of fun that his brothers are more scared of their father than he is. Their dad is super strict. He's a military commander or whatever, or ranger, whatever he is, but he runs his home like the military, which we see a lot even in real life. When you've got a father in the military, he expects his household to be run with the same strict rules and the same kind of stuff. So I found that very, very interesting. But I think we see that his father kind of favors young John because he actually has no fear. You know what I mean? When his dad puts him through the test and stuff, which we'll talk about in a moment, John shows no fear at all. He's fearless. Meanwhile, his brothers are like, "Oh my God, Dad's home," and they're kind of freaking out, like they are scared of him. But John isn't. So I kind of got this sense when I was watching that their father favors John out of the three of them because he's fearless.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting dynamic between the two of them because, like, his dad's a Marine, and he follows in his dad's footsteps, becomes a Marine sniper. But, like, yeah, like, it's like his dad sees something in him, and he is seeking to mold that. And I'm wondering why, like, yeah, like you, why he's the favorite out of the three boys. It's, what is it about John's character or who he is that, it makes it, is it that lack of fear? Is it that trust in his dad? It's going to be interesting to see if we get to see, like in episode 3, why that is, why he's the favorite, and why his dad, takes him through all this. I don't know.
Well, we'll dive a little bit deeper into what you were just getting into in a point or two. But before we get there, I want to talk about this punishment because he obviously walks in. He knows they were watching TV, and I'm assuming there's a rule that they're not allowed to watch TV late at night or when he's not home or something. Because he asks John what was his real name, so he knows they were watching TV, and because John gives him the answers, he takes him outside, and I imagine he's done this with all of his kids, but he makes them stand outside against the garage wall with an apple on their head while he takes a shot at them with their pistol to shoot the apple. And that, when you actually think about that, it is crazy. Because what if he misses one day? What if his aim is off? What if the kid flinches? What if he's not steady? He would have just shot one of his kids in the face. Does he even consider that? It's crazy to me.
Yeah. I mean, he has been doing it for years because you look at the wall behind John and it goes up.
There's holes in the wall. Yeah, going up like 2 feet.
And he's telling, Sheriff Kane's son later that he did it, as a kid, so he probably continued doing it. But like,
what if, right?
Crazy,
Oh my God.
I thought this was absolutely insane. Absolutely, certifiably insane.
What, is that not how you punish your kids, Harley?
Definitely not. Oh my God.
I use a bow and arrow. What are you talking about?
Right? Yeah. Didn't she know I'm like a crazy sharpshooter? Yeah. No, this was insane. I mean, I thought like he was gonna like whoop him with his belt or something. I mean, it was the 90s. Not shoot a frickin' apple off of his head. Man, that is nuts. Even by 90s standards, 80s standards, 70s standards, that is flipping nuts. Yeah. Like I don't understand how like no one could ever have known about that in real life. I mean, I don't think so. At some point, someone would have seen or figured that out. Like that is,
or hear the shot.
He's in the middle of a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yes.
How have the neighbors not called the cops? Like, I mean, anyways, made for TV. For TV. Not real. I was very uncomfy with that situation. I was like, oh my God.
To me, it's just the what if of it all. The kid flinches.
Yeah, what if you shoot your kid in the face?
Yeah.
This was labeled explicit, so that's okay.
I'll still try to catch them when I can, but yeah. Oh man.
Yep. Sorry. I was a little worked up about this particular one.
No, but that's exactly why. That's why I wanted to bring it up, because to me it is just crazy. It's just the what if of it all. How would his dad react? How would his dad feel? I just shot my kid to punish him for watching TV. Like maybe he just has so much confidence that he's that good of a shot. I don't know.
Obviously.
His two brothers are obviously really scared. I cannot see them standing there that still. And maybe they never did. Maybe it was John the only one the whole time.
I'm thinking it's John all along.
Oh.
Yeah.
But, okay, well, let's get into the next point here, which ties into what you were saying earlier, Jeff. Before he shoots, he asks, "Are you afraid?" Now, that, to me, is that just coincidence, or is that similar military training and similar military lingo just by chance because Hal was in the Air Force, John's dad's in the military? Is the question, "Are you afraid?" something that maybe the commanding officers use in their training? I don't know. Or does his dad know that phrase from watching Hal Jordan, because he's probably been on TV like crazy, even long before this interview, telling everybody who he was? Has he heard it somewhere along the way, him saying, "Are you afraid?" And because he asked what his real name was, maybe he's studying him. Like the way he asked young John what was his name. It's like he's been waiting to find that out because maybe he wants to do some military digging, finding out his Air Force history. I have no idea, but he's obviously been following him and looking into him. And so he's been using this to train young John. And the feeling I kind of got from that is it was as if to prepare him to become a Lantern one day. I feel like his dad kind of knew something was up, knew his kid was fearless. Here's Hal Jordan saying, "Are you afraid? Are you afraid?" And his dad is taking that and training John. "Are you afraid? If you're not going to move while I shoot this apple off your head." And he's been using that for all of John's life. So I just feel like there's a larger story here with his dad in the military and training John from the get-go to prepare to be a Lantern. I don't know. What do you guys think?
No, I'm like right there with you. Like, given what we know, I 100% believe he was preparing him in some sick and twisted way. He saw something in him, like you said. He's, like he's definitely like the favored one, but it's like, why is he the favored one? It's like, I think, I don't know if he's like testing to see like how mentally strong he is. Although honestly, I don't think shooting at your kid is a great way to test how strong they are mentally. But that's neither here nor there. I don't know, but I am tracking right there with you. I think he's been grooming him, for lack of a better word, for this position. So,
yeah.
So here's my crazy harebrained theory. The ring approached Hal's. It approached multiple people. Maybe it approached John Sr. And, he couldn't say that he wasn't afraid because, like, he had, he's got his sons and his family. And so, like, from that point on, like, he is, like, I wasn't prepared. I'm going to prepare the next generation. I'm going to prepare. And he looks at John and says, yeah, he's going to be the one. So, like, maybe he was preparing John to be a Lantern even from that point. Like, yeah. So he got passed over. And so he's like, I'm going to make sure my son is ready if the time comes.
Interesting.
So that's my crazy theory. So we'll see.
Interesting.
I mean, it's all crazy because later in the episode, we see, when they're walking down the road after the whole scene where he drives the car off the cliff and he's walking down the road, John actually calls his dad complaining about how Hal is training him, and he's kind of having a little bit of a conniption fit, and his dad's like, "Stay cool, stay focused. This is how you're going to get the job." So and that relates to everything we just said. I feel like he's always been preparing him because his dad is like, "I raised you to this point. The job is yours. You've got to stay cool to get this damn job." Like, I just feel like there's more there, which we'll probably get in episode 3, like you told us. We'll see the origin story. I bet you we're going to get the answers to what we're talking about right now. His dad was involved.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. No, absolutely.
So by 2016, he's been training. John Stewart's been training for 2 months, it says. He says, "I've been training with you for 2 months." But we hear that the Guardians chose him to be the successor and that he must be trained. And we talked about this earlier when we were just discussing the show and whatever. We all went, wait, what? He also says that is how it is now. So something has changed in the rules. What's the comic story as to how John got the ring? Well, I looked it up because this has been driving me crazy since we saw the trailer. We don't train Lanterns. That doesn't happen. The ring shows them. So I went to the DC Wiki and the DC Universe pages, whatever, and I looked it all up. And you know what? we're wrong. The show actually has it right. When Abensur crashed, the ring went looking for successors, and it found Hal Jordan and Guy Gardner both to be worthy. But Hal was closer at the time. He was closer in proximity, so he was chosen first. Later, when Earth was deemed more important galactically due to its suddenly becoming a hotspot for alien activity, the Guardians did actually decide that their sector, whatever it is, 8126, needs backup lanterns in case something happens. And they went and chose Guy Gardner first, but at the time, he was supposed to be the backup to Hal Jordan, but at the time that they made this decision to have a backup, Guy Gardner was actually injured and in the hospital at that time. So they had to go out and find someone else, and that's when they located John Stewart, and he was appointed as the backup. And he was also appointed to be trained by Hal Jordan. But once Guy was better, Guy Gardner became the true backup, and John actually was only the backup for the backup, the third in line. But eventually, the Guardians did gift both Guy and John their own power rings, so this is all actually correct. The show is doing it proper justice, and I had no idea.
Yeah.
Nice. I had no idea either. I'm just sitting here listening, taking in all of this information, and happy for the education. And that, again, I can trust what they're putting on screen actually, jives with the comics, and I'm not getting some rewritten version. Which I know they always take liberties in these shows, and it's fine. I like that. Yeah. It's nice to know when it lines up with the comics and when it doesn't. So that's cool. I like it.
It just surprised me because I had never heard of that before. I only knew about the ring being passed on. I had no idea there was training involved. It's all new to me. So.
Yeah, there's definitely training, because whether we'll see it in this series, but Kilowog trains Hal, and so it will be interesting to see how it works here in this. So we'll see.
Yeah. But I do find it kind of funny that John was the backup to the backup. He was third in line, so it's kind of funny, even though he's the one that we all know much more because of the cartoon and stuff. So kind of funny. True. So this will all make some sense and connections when we see Guy Gardner show up in the show, and he shows up in the series. And now that we know the story, everything involved with him is going to make sense, because we're going to question, I know we're going to get to it in this episode, we're going to question, where'd the ring go? Why does Hal not have it? Why didn't John get it? Blah, 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 blah. I think it's all going to come around, and I think I have explanations to that a little bit later. I can't remember, but it'll all start to make sense.
I feel like we come back around.
Yeah.
We come back around to this. Okay. I mean, we come back around to a lot of this, so I think we're okay.
What I like, going back to John Stewart, what I like about the casting for this actor, for Aaron Pierre, is that what his name is? He is very much the John that we know from the cartoon. He's got the hard-edged military background. He's strict. He's respectful, and he looks the part. I think they just really did a good casting to bring him to life here.
Yeah. Yes. I agree with the casting. I'm not gonna lie, kind of like the intro to him in the Justice League, I do not immediately like him. I just don't. I don't actually think either one of our main characters is likable at all. So it's gonna be a really interesting evolution to see how I feel today versus how I feel when this season ends.
I wonder which one you'll end up liking first.
I know, funny. Me too.
Yeah. Well, okay, so we know what you don't like about Hal. What don't you like about John here?
I mean, he is very, very stoic, and he doesn't come off quite as much like a brusque jerk as I felt like Green Lantern did in the Justice League cartoon. But there's just something about it that I can't quite put my finger on. I don't know. I think it's just the quiet stoicism. Like nothing bothers him. Nothing phases him. And we can see a little crack in that shell when he actually calls his dad. But
yeah, I
don't know. It's just he's too buttoned up for me. He's too internalizing everything. I'm I feel like you are just walking mental health crisis right there.
Well, the truth is they both are. They are at two different ends of the spectrum. John has been a military child, went into the military, used to being trained by, superiors and, doing exactly what they say, because he saw it in his dad. He was trained that way by his dad, and then it went through there, and he is so tight and pulled up. And then you've got Hal, who is thrown off all of that and is like, hey, I enjoy being famous. I'm gonna, do things my way and not necessarily. So you've got these two exact opposites, and they're both dislikable in so many ways. And it's like you get them slammed together and having to train, and so yeah, I think they're both unlikable in areas, but like I love the nods that they do, like his costume at the 2026 looks exactly like one of the Justice League animated, where we saw him with the coat and the hat and everything. And so they do these call outs. So yeah, they're not, and that's the thing, this is real, this is grounded, they've got issues, and it's going to be interesting to see how they both use the ring differently, how they go about things, and are they going to bring about the best in each other through things, or is it going to change them? But yeah, I can definitely see that. Harley, he's way too buttoned up. So
I mean, he does let loose in the car with the wife of someone else. I mean,
I've got thoughts on that coming.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Maybe that's how he releases some tension,
Mm-hmm.
Dude. Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to that later.
We'll get
you may
to
have
that.
just made that scene. You may have actually just made that scene make sense for me. But we can talk about that in a minute.
Well, let's talk about we got two other sort of main supporting cast characters, and the first one is Sheriff Carey, played by Kelly MacDonald. And I just had a couple little thoughts about her here. Like, just to break her down a little bit, she's also very moody. What is it about this town? Everybody's just a grump. Like, she's moody. She doesn't want peace in her town disturbed, and she's protective of her jurisdiction. She was cranky herself on our first introduction to her. You're just like, who is this lady? What the heck?
I mean, yeah, it kind of seemed on par for, like a small town. They don't want outsiders to meddle. I mean, I kind of get that. Yeah. But it also seemed like she was trying to get them to leave. Like, she wants them gone. She doesn't want them in the middle of anything. And I think it's for like a much bigger reason, as we will come to find out. So I couldn't quite tell. Maybe you guys recall this. Has she had experience with Hal specifically? Because she says something like, I can't do this again. Or does she just know what's up because of her father-in-law, which obviously we'll find out.
I think I can add to that a little bit later in another point, but yeah, we'll get to that.
I think just the thought when she's like, can't do this again, she says that when John shows up, and she already dealt with Hal like a couple hours ago.
She's thinking John's going to be the same way.
Yeah, so I think that's what she was just referring to, Jess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like, two lanterns? Come on. But.
Yeah, okay. So she's talking more about the fact that there's two. Okay, that makes more sense. Cool.
So. But we later find out who she's married to and what family she's tied into, and it seems like to me that she's trapped with no way out. She's involved with the wrong people, and being the small town and being as corrupt as it seems like it's going to be in the background, she can't get out, and that's probably what's causing her to be in the mood that she's in.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it did not seem like a very happy marriage to me at all. It really makes me curious how it kind of all came about, right? Like, I'm not sure we're actually going to get that answer. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But I don't know. That just felt kind of like a little bit wild to me.
Yeah. So. I mean, Hal even called that out, it's like, of her, when she gives him the warning, and it's like, you seem like you're trapped, so.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see him and her actually getting along, and he'll actually help her get away from the family.
Yeah, I don't know.
In this series.
But I got to say, Kelly McDonald, I like the actress a lot. I've been a big fan of hers. She's a redhead. I like redheads. But anyway, but I've been a fan of hers. I mean, she played Merida in Brave. You know, she voiced Merida in Brave. You know, she's done a lot of cool stuff. So she's when I saw that she was going to be in here, I was kind of excited. But I wanted to give some insight because when John comes into the station to bail Hal out, we hear the end of a call, and she's talking about Hal, and she says, "Say hi to Barb." And so the speculation is that she was on the phone with Jim Gordon trying to get some advice on how to deal with, you know, all this stuff. And that she may have moved to Nebraska to get away from like the crime of Gotham. Maybe she was a police officer there. But the interesting thing is her last name is Kane. And Kane is the last name of Kate Kane, a.k.a. Batwoman in the comics. So there's, you know, Gotham ties, and it's got that double letter thing that DC likes to do. Lois Lane, you know, Lana Lane,
yeah,
that kind of Kate Kane. We got Carrie, so you know,
Carrie Kane. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting if there's ties there, and that okay, you get this big city cop that gets, you know, tired of the grittiness and the crime of Gotham, and maybe she's injured or whatever, and she moves out into the middle of the country to get away from things, and she gets wrapped up into all this other stuff. So I'm interested to see where they go with her character. So
wouldn't that be so damn cool if she's talking to the Jim Gordon of Gotham, like the TV show, and they bring those actors back, and oh man, like how cool would that be? Because the timeline would work out at this point in time. Batman would just be young and not on the scene yet. Like it could almost work out.
Yeah, I know.
That would be really interesting. And that is one of those ways that they can like maybe have those ties to the greater universe, like we were talking about before. I mean, even if they are just name drops, like I'm okay with that. Like that's still pretty cool. So I mean, I'm glad to know that they can actually tie into the movie franchises and that it's officially canon and officially sanctioned. I had forgotten about like Nathan Fillion, Sky Gardner being in there. So I mean, overall, I think that's great.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the other character. Well, I guess the husband and wife. We're going to talk about William and Zoe Macon, or Macon. I guess Macon.
Macon.
Played by Garrett Dillahunt and Porna Jaganathan. That's Porna Jaganathan. That's a different name I've never heard before. So I know Garrett Dillahunt very, very well from being a Terminator in the Sarah Connor Chronicles. He was the bad Terminator that was chasing them down in that 2-season fantastic sci-fi show. And he was also the second main character from Fear the Walking Dead. Like he was a big Fear the Walking Dead character, and he was so goofy and crazy in that one. Like he just talked like he was simple and not very quick, but yet he was a really, really smart guy. So I know this actor really well. It's just cool to see him in this, playing a bad guy this time.
Yeah, he's one of those actors, like he looks so familiar to me, and I know that I have seen him in some of these shows, but nothing like, I was scanning like even through IMDb, just like looking at all the things he's been in, and I'm like, okay, like I know he was in this stuff, but like none of his roles were jumping out as like, oh yeah, I know that guy. I mean, obviously I watched all of Justified, so he's probably familiar to me from that and from like other things that he's done, you know, but I was just like, oh, who is this guy? It's driving me nuts. And
Well, I think Fear the Walking Dead was his last project before this one. It's because that only ended recently, so yeah.
Interesting.
Now,
true.
He's very much a small town, big money crime boss, but he also seems to know a lot, which I found interesting. Which I wonder how he knows. Like, he seemed to know about aliens and the lanterns, and like he knew. There's a lot more depth to this guy, which is, again, like you've heard me say many times, the greatest villains have depth and background and story to them, and there's a lot to this guy because he knows more than he should, being just a small town crime boss.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he dropped a tease out there about his character, and it sounds like there's way more going on beneath the surface than we even kind of get the feel of.
Oh no, I definitely got that feel and that impression 100%. I was like, there is no way this guy is not very much part of the mystery and the intrigue, the way they're setting things up. I'm like, this is all interconnected, and it's just going to make for some really interesting character dynamics. So,
yeah, and his quote is, "It might be a front for some other kind of character that's very familiar to you all," and so that's leaving a lot of people theorizing that he is a villain in DC lore, hiding in plain sight. And the big theory is Black Mask, which is one of Batman's villains.
Okay, I don't know who Black Mask is.
Yeah, so he wears a black skull-like mask, and he is in the Batman lore. He's like, a ruthless businessman in Gotham. He wears masks, and he played a part in the Batwoman series, and he's been in different stuff, but like he's a marksman. He can do hand-to-hand combat. Like in some storylines, the mask gives him mind control and things like that. So he's been around for a good while. Since that, the mid 80s. So that's some of the speculation. So,
be interesting to see what they go. Like I said, there's definitely something up with him.
Yeah,
and he's a pretty big character actor, so I can't see them just giving him a small role.
No,
so
there's no way they introduce this guy and he doesn't have like a much bigger role. There's no way. He's too high profile of a guy.
Right, but like even here, he's a person, but he's got a boss. I mean, he's introduced that he works for somebody, he signed an NDA,
Yep.
So there's somebody behind him. So yeah,
which is usually any small town crime boss. They're working for somebody above them. Like a lot of this whole setup reminded me a lot of Tulsa King. If you guys are watching that with Sylvester Stallone, it's almost exact same small town crime boss storytelling. So very, very familiar. And then I forgot to put notes in here, but his wife, Zoe, I mean, we meet her as just some woman at the bar having a drink, and she hits on John and takes him to his truck, and they have their way with each other. And then you later find out in the episode she's the wife of this guy. What the heck is she doing? Why? Like, is she trying to set them up? Like, by doing that, she just sucked them into his little crime world, because he obviously knows what they did. Yeah. He has that line, eating from another man's grill is the best thing ever, right? And John's just like, oh, damn. Like, he knows. Like, it's,
I think that's a good point, is like, how does he know? But then again, he is definitely that type of guy that's got like the eyes and ears everywhere.
Or
like, it's a small town.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe she's known for that. I don't know. Like there's definitely reasons for
sure. I mean, and it could be one of those situations where it's a little of both. Like he's using her for information, but she is trapped like her daughter-in-law as well.
Oh,
there's also some speculation that you remember in the Lanterns episode that John had this romantic relationship with another Lantern, the one that trained him.
Yes.
There's some speculation that she is an alien. Is that alien?
Oh, that would be very fascinating.
Unbeknownst to her husband.
He's
very anti-alien, and like, so there's like, who are they really who's behind the scenes. You got this whole thing in this episode of like everybody has bosses, everybody's got somebody behind them. Who are they really? Are they what you see, or are they more than what you see? It's all in there, so we'll see.
So it's basically laid out a lot of mysteries for us and speculation, or things to speculate on. So it's going to be So that immediately makes the show more intriguing. So I can maybe bring my score up to an 8, because now I'm starting to get more interested. Now that we're talking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to know that. I want to know that answer, and I want to know that answer. So hopefully this stuff continues, and we're not just. Because sometimes we go so far, and the show writers never think of half the stuff that we come up with, and we get let down.
That's true. I don't think we've theorized anything too wild. I think that with the wife being an alien might probably be like the wildest place we've gone so far.
Let's dial it back then. Just to my original question: why do you think she would do that? Why, knowing who her husband is, did she do this as a setup? And she told him, or is she just, I'm so unhappy in my marriage that I'm just going to sleep with the next handsome stranger that comes to town because I have nothing at home. Why do you guys think she did that?
I mean, we do have, this is a little bit like later in the notes, and so, but I'm like happy to just like chat about it now, because this was a really, really odd scene for me. Like it wasn't, and it was slightly less odd when we got the reveal, but I'm just like, okay, what was like the point? Like, why is she like trying to seduce him? Or maybe that was part of the plan all along, and maybe she's not going behind her husband's back. Maybe this is what she does. This is her part of the family business. Yes. She uses seduction, and that's how he knows. He knows not because he has eyes and ears everywhere, which is distinctly possible. He knows because he told her to do it.
Mm-hmm. She is his eyes and ears.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you look at this. In 24 hours, the dude has, $200,000 bail on Hal, and tries to rope him in. And then he's got the whole deal that, his wife, cheated on him with John, so he's got leverage both ways. Like,
oh man,
it's big. So
so he sucked them into his trap.
Yeah.
So everybody's getting trapped. He's trapping.
Mm-hmm.
He's trapped the sheriff. He's trapped. That's crazy to think about. I do. Yeah. Before I forget, I do like the line when they were in the bar and Hal's setting up the fight to go fight the drunken idiots, and he hands the ring to John and says, Don't come get me or whatever. And then the camera switches to her, and she's like, well, are you going to say yes? And he's like, what? Well, he gave you his ring. He proposed. Are you going to say? I just thought that was kind of funny.
It was definitely funny. It was definitely funny. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So X-Force, you got a couple timeline points here you want to try to clear up. Yeah.
So the timeline question. So say if John is 10 in 1996, he would be 30 in 2016, and 40 in 2026. And Sheriff Kane says, you don't look like you've aged a day. So, like, I'm asking, like, does the ring slow aging?
Well, I would think you would have the answer more than me or Jess to that question, but I'll just answer it with my feelings. Like the way she says you haven't aged one bit, I think that's just a saying that people use when they haven't seen someone in a long time and they still look young. And wow, look at you haven't aged a bit. That's kind of what I took that as. Because me personally, I thought he did look older with the beard and the goatee or whatever. But maybe that's something we could research, that the ring does slow it down. I don't know. We're relying on you for that kind of information.
I will say I took it the same way that Martin did, that it was just kind of like a figure of speech. However, I would not be surprised if that were a side effect of the ring, but is it?
I don't know. I'll have to look.
Okay. Well, then we'll follow that. Stay tuned. Yeah. I love it. It's a mystery for all of us.
Yeah. Interesting.
But then again, the ages of the cast just kind of blow my mind, because like Garrett, who plays Will, he's like only 16 years older than the actor playing his son, Jason Ritter. And then you've got...
That's why he looks so familiar. Sorry, the kid, Jason Ritter. Okay, thank you.
And then you got Porna, who is only 8 years older than Jason and only 4 years older than Kelly, who plays her daughter-in-law. So, like, they're really close in age. I'm like, what?
Look, I really like all of these actors. I think, like, from a talent perspective, from a like looks perspective, I think they did like a great job of like finding people that felt like they fit these characters. However, when looking at your ages, you don't really like buy it as much. I feel like Carrie actually looks so much older than her husband.
Oh, the guy with
like
the porno mustache.
Yep. And then the dad, Will, he doesn't look old enough to have kids, nearly that old, but clearly he does. But, you know, maybe they had kids when they were young. And, you know, it's not unheard of to have kids in your late teens and early 20s. Just because these days most people don't do that anymore. Doesn't mean that that used to be normal like 20 years ago. So, just saying.
Well, going back to like all you're talking about the ages and stuff, Jeff, like it reminds me of Blue Bloods, the cop show. You guys watch Blue Bloods with Tom Selleck? Well, in that show, Tom Selleck has his dad, you know, Senior Reagan, or whatever, like the family's name is Reagan. Tom Selleck is actually like 8 or 9 years older than the actor playing his dad on Blue Bloods. And yet the actor playing his dad looks like a grandpa. He looks like an 80-year-old grandpa with pure white hair, while Tom Selleck still has the black hair and the black mustache. And he's older. He's almost 10 years older than the guy playing his dad. And like, wow.
Oh my gosh.
How does that make that guy feel that I'm playing the grandpa to this family and I'm not even the oldest one here?
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
So funny. I mean, Tom Selleck's done well for his age, for himself being in his, I guess he's in his 80s now or whatever. He still looks like a pretty handsome dude at that age. So, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to get into the storyline a little bit here, try to get into it here. So going back to 2016, like you mentioned way at the top of the show, they jump right in with no introductions. There's no flashbacks, there's no nothing. It's just, bam, here's your characters, pew, off we go with the show, which I thought was kind of cool. We've often complained, especially with DC, every time they reboot somebody, we got to go through the whole origin story again, and a lot of us were just like, we know the origin, can we just dive in? Unless there's a different way you're going to tell it, we all know the story. So that's where I thought this show it's fine, let's just get going. We don't need the origin, although it'd be cool to see Hal's origin now that we heard it on the news. It'd be cool to see John Stewart's origin as he grew up, because we saw beginning and middle. Let's see how they got there. So it was cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. You know, it's been 2 months. We're kind of new into this training, and they're both using the ring. It's difficult training on both of them, and you know, we talked about it. Hal doesn't like, you know, that he's saddled with this replacement, and you know, it's interesting looking at these characters.
I mean, I would just argue that they actually both know how to use the ring at this point, just because I don't think John knows how to use it very well at all. Actually, I felt like he was totally like scrambling. Like, I mean, that's like kind of my point. Like, I felt like he was totally scrambling when like Hal jumped out of the car. And he like just barely got something together to like save his life. So
bubble wrap apparently.
I
know. I was like, that's hilarious. But I don't know. I was like, I don't know about that.
But you know, here's an interesting little tidbit. We talked about the using it to make the money.
Yeah.
So that's detailed. Like, you've got it's being read by a bill reader, so it's got to be exact. It's got to be
barcodes and everything, right?
And all that kind of stuff. So you can use, like, he uses it to make a can opener, but like he has to like put all that will into that to get it to read. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see the difference in the constructs as we go forward because of who they are, because we know John is an architect, and we see in this episode that he is also an artist. He's sketching, the alien later. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how they both use a ring. So
yeah, I think so. I found it interesting that 2 months in and he hasn't even had a chance to use it, because he even says in the car, right, I haven't even tried the ring on yet. And that's when Hal's throws it on the dash and jumps out of the car. It's like, what the heck? He just jumped out of the car. That was pretty crazy.
And they were supposed to be doing a flying lesson. That was the goal for the day.
But again, it goes back to, and it's kind of similar to John's dad. It's like, okay, what if John's dad missed with the gun? Well, what if John couldn't think of anything with the ring here in time?
Yeah.
And he's flying off the cliff in the car. I think I had that in the notes, but I'm just bringing it up now. How does Hal even know that he's going to be able to create something? He's never worn the ring yet. And you drive him off the cliff? What if he couldn't do it? You just killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we get the hologram giving, the message to Hal about Rushville. And I thought this was interesting. We know it's a backup, so it's like the messaging system of the ring / the Guardians giving the message to Hal. So this is kind of weird. Would we have seen this if it was still on Hal's finger? So I don't know. It was kind of interesting there.
I wonder what kicked it off. Why did the message turn on at that point? What? Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of wondering that of what kicked it on, and I think it was just an automated alert because the shooting happened, the event in Rushville happened, which was the trigger. And
that's what it was. You're right.
I think it was just coincidence that John actually had the ring on him instead of Hal, and I actually think this interaction is kind of why, what kind of clued me in on the fact that he doesn't really know how to use the ring very well. I felt like this kind of explained that he doesn't know how to fly. That's clearly what they were supposed to be learning, but obviously that doesn't really happen. And then he talks to the hologram, and he even says, "Oh, well, why don't you just fly to the taco stand?" And he's like,
"Yeah,
I don't know how to do that." Kind of gives him this look.
He looks around I'm walking in the desert here. What are you
Yeah,
exactly. It's the exact reaction is don't you think I would do that if I could, kind of thing. So that's why I felt like he really didn't know hardly anything at all, and based on what the hologram actually ends up telling him. It tells him quite a lot, and he's like, what?
Yeah.
You didn't know this yet?
And and the interesting thing too is the difference in personality in the backup from 10 years ago to who John is now was striking.
Yes.
That was very intriguing to me, of how different those two people are, the compare and contrast. So
yeah, and I feel like that says a lot too. I mean, he hasn't backed himself up for 10 years, and in that 10 years he has changed a lot.
Yeah.
But even that version of him, I don't know, that version felt downright giddy and optimistic, and even kind of compared to the 60 Minutes interview, because in the 60 Minutes interview he was still kind of he wasn't as gruff. He definitely wasn't aloof or anything like he appears to be in 2016, but he was very egotistical, very arrogant, and I didn't get that from the hologram version of himself.
Yeah.
He kind of had a hero complex. Is the feeling I got from him, even in his
yes,
interview
that's
with
a good way to put it.
60 Minutes.
Yeah. So I mean, the whole thing about this is immediately from the get-go, like once they get there, like Hal, I mean, obviously he's like, this is aliens. And then, like John kind of picks up on it too. So they're both pretty insistent that this whole thing is wrapped up around aliens. And then it's another like one of these moments where Hal is testing John, and like I don't like the methods because it seems like totally reckless. I mean, it's like the dad. It all is kind of like coming full circle. I mean, like he knew what was going to happen if John like went down to that field and started snooping around. He knew that the guy was going to get spooked, and so why let him go in the first place? Is he just trying to piss off the sheriff? Does he just need a distraction? Like, what was his motivation there?
I might agree with you that I think it was part of his training because he says, hey, you got a theory? Go down and prove it. And when John gets down there and, the sheriff gets pissed off at him, John admits, he's like, I just screwed up, didn't I? She goes, yeah, big time, dude. And that's when the guy starts running. So I think that moment was a training lesson for sure.
Yeah, but it was reckless because he knew, like Hal knew exactly what was going to happen.
But I think he knew that the alien wasn't going to get away either. I mean, there's 3 of them. The 2 lanterns and the sheriff. The alien wasn't going to get away. So I think he's just like, because he shows up at the end. He lets them chase him down, and he just kind of shows up like, yeah, see?
He probably was banking on the fact that he wasn't going to out himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, John does run down the suspect, and it's smart, goes around and knocks him out as he comes out the door. And
that was a hell of a punch. The guy's running full speed right into the fist.
Yeah.
Ouch.
I was like, yes.
That was wild.
But then Hal and John go to the bar, and Hal does what he does. He plays the roller skate song on repeat because he wants to get arrested, because he wants to be in the cell next door to the alien so he can question him. So since he can't, he's not going to get anywhere with the sheriff of her letting him. So he's like, well, how can I get into jail?
I like that she knew it anyway. She knew. He's just getting beat up, so he thinks I'm going to let him talk to the alien? Nah, I locked him in the broom closet.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, like, of all the bad ideas, like a bar brawl, I don't know that I can say those 3 times fast, feels very on brand for us, right?
There you go.
I feel like everything we've watched it's got a good bar brawl. I mean, it's like our hallmark. Yeah, it just fits.
Yeah.
But there was no way this plan was going to work. Like, of course, the sheriff is going to know exactly why he tried to get himself arrested. And again, it's reckless. And I can't tell if it's because he's actually a few steps ahead of people, if he's just a total idiot at this point and doesn't care, or if he just has a lot of luck. Sheer dumb luck.
I think he's actually smarter than we're giving him credit for, and he's a couple steps ahead of people.
I certainly hope so.
I think and that's why he has the attitude that he has, because he is ahead of people. He's a detective essentially. He's like Batman, and essentially right here, he just knows more than everybody else does because of the experience he's had.
Yeah,
but I do want to say, going back down to that rundown, I'm not sure if it's the actor or if it's the boots that they had him wearing at the time, but he is really heavy-footed. Like I'm a runner. I'm the Flash, and I've been in track and field my entire life. I know of what running is, and he ran with really heavy. It's like he was wearing concrete bricks for shoes. The way he ran, especially you see it when he runs across the gym. Like
you can really see it in the gym. Even I noticed it. I was like, "That's a weird run."
Heavy. Yeah, so maybe he's got really big feet. I don't know, but his running style was a bit. It's odd.
Yeah,
very heavy feet.
Maybe he's used to a lighter gravity on his planet.
Yeah.
Touche.
Maybe. But yeah.
Yeah. But we talked about it. It was fun that the sheriff locked him in the out in the broom closet.
I mean, I did find that incredibly abusing, and I like that she actually proceeds to press charges and have him arraigned anyway. Mm-hmm. She's just one tough customer, and she's not going to let him get away with anything, even if he is a space cop. So I did kind of love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Like the work, because he's been the Lantern now for 20 years, and he's been out of the public for the last 10 years. Everybody knows about him, and it just seems like the way he's gone about himself, the world isn't, oh, superhero, whoa. Like, nobody's looking at him with awe anymore. They're just treating him like a regular dude. And I don't care that you're super. I don't care you have a ring, a very powerful weapon on your finger. Like, whatever. Get out of here. This is my jail. Like,
yeah. We do get this court scene, and the judge is not having it, and thankfully, Will's son / Sheriff Kane's husband, Billy, comes in as lawyer and gets Hal out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We've talked about some of this, but I do feel like this is where a lot of the mystery is. And I have a lot of questions. I'm just going to fire them off. And if we haven't discussed any of them, here we go.
Okay.
Why does Will want Green Lantern in his debt? How does he know about the aliens, and why is he trading a militia? I mean, other than for the obviously impending alien invasion. Like, he presents as a bit of a kook, and I feel like it's easy how this show is like grounded in the real world for us to kind of feel like he is. But we can't forget that in this show, aliens are a very, very real reality and danger to this planet that everybody knows about. So I don't know. What do you guys think? What's your read?
I'm wondering about why he wants Lantern to be in his debt. I mean, when you have a superhero in your debt,
exactly,
you can use that to your advantage in so many ways as a bad guy. So that will
especially
have to play out.
Wife is an alien.
Yeah, true.
He's very smart because he's got him in the debt, but he is at the cookout. He is appealing to his nature of being out there and being a cop and being a peacekeeper and dealing with the aliens and trying to draw him into the fight there in that way. So, like, he is not putting all of his irons in one fire. Like, he is coming at Hal in multiple angles to try to draw him in. He's got the debt there, but he knows, like, if Hal wants, like, he can fly off.
Yeah.
True.
But
good point.
But he is trying to come at him in multiple angles, and so I think it's going to be interesting to find out, like, how he knows. Well, I mean, everybody knows there's aliens now, but how does he know, like, about the ones in the area? How did they find out? Like, how did they know that the aliens were going to be at that football game? And he says some of his guys got hurt or lost their lives. So, like, did they spur on? Did they attack? There's a lot of questions on what's going on. So yeah, I'm very interested in, like, he is trying to get multiple angles to attack these aliens, and Hal's one of them. So he's like, okay, well, Hal's here, I'm going to try to get in and pull him in. So yeah, it's wild.
And that's what it could be ultimately in the end. He may not be the nicest guy, this small town enforcer mob boss guy, but maybe he is something along the lines of a Lex Luthor, where he just wants to, in his own small town way, I'm going to protect my town. I want to protect this planet from aliens. I'm here for my fellow man. I don't want aliens. I don't want anything to do with them. And I'm building my militia, and I'm going to befriend Green Lantern, and he's going to help me, and we are going to stop any alien threat. Maybe he's just a massive anti-alien type of person.
Yeah, could be.
And he's going to go about it however he can. Yeah.
I think that's kind of like where I was leaning a little bit, and because you get that feel, it feels like, that like doomsday prepper type of feel, the not necessarily like conspiracy theory, but just like someone who like really wants to be prepared for kind of like that worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so for him, that worst case scenario is an alien invasion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the feeling I got right now. So we'll see.
Yeah.
With how much he knows, maybe, he obviously has a lot of money, so he can dig into stuff. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah. So closing out this section, we get kind of into one of my favorite scenes. But we get, he clears the way for Hal to, interview the alien. He, says basically lays down the law to carry. And so Hal gets to interview the alien. And this was a very cool scene for a lot of reasons. It was really cool how they did the cinematography here, because you have, Hal and the alien, Waylon in there, and then you've got the sheriff and John behind the two-way glass, and then you've got the filming of both of those without it revealing the camera. And I actually saw like a video on how it was probably done, of the camera being behind
Right.
Aaron and Kelly, and them being lit so that they would reflect off the glass, but not the camera. So you're looking at them in the glass and Hal in the eight.
It was a neat shot.
It was well done visually. And then you have the questioning scene of Hal breaking down the alien's cover and getting past where the alien can like give facts and to the point where like he knows the jig is up and he's going to reveal who he really is. It was a really cool scene on a lot of fronts.
It was, I even give the guy playing the alien, I give that supporting actor a heck of a job, because he's playing your typical farm boy tractor driving dummy. I don't know what you're talking about. I like football. That's all I'm here for. I like football. And he comes off as this dumb farm boy, and then he switches, and all of a sudden he's talking completely different, and he knows all about the lantern stuff and the alien stuff. And Anna's like, wow, okay, that was a real, I knew it was going to happen. It wasn't a surprise, but his twist in his acting was a good twist. I like that.
I agree. I thought it was a really great twist in his acting specifically, and I just found it entirely amusing that the thing that trips him up is, where did Harry Potter go to school? Hogwarts. You don't know Hogwarts? I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah. He was answering the questions pretty well up to that point, so that was interesting.
Yeah, I thought the theory was like fascinating. It's like you learn just enough so that like you can pass by as like your intended persona, but you've missed things that were in the popular culture that anybody would know, because it was you can't help but know it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a hilarious way to get him to play his hand there.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go now to the future, because the episode ends in this little 5-minute segment in the future. We jump ahead to 2026, which is roughly the current timeline. If we're looking at the cinematic universe and everything's going on, we're roughly in the current timeline now. This is when Superman's out there. This is when the Justice Society's out there. This is where we're at. And we get into a few sequences here.
Yeah, so I like this because John is driving. It's wintertime, and he's driving into Rushville, and we see the entrance to the Macon compound, and it's been destroyed.
Okay, so I was wondering if that's what that was. So I did clock that correctly.
When you say the compound, that's the house, the everything where he had the barbecue with them?
Basically, you see the entrance.
Space.
So they made a big point of when Hal and John are driving in that you can't drive directly to the gate. You've got to drive past one brick wall and then around another brick wall and then get to the gate, so that you can't just go ramming straight through. Well, those two kind of brick barriers looked a little broken down, and the whole gate was just like half off.
Yeah.
You gotta look at that scene.
The actual house, that you see the entrance is just like demolished. So
yeah, I gotta look at that again. I don't remember the visual, but okay.
Yeah,
crazy.
So yeah, he gets into town, and the sheriff is there waiting for him, and he asked about her son, and he's in high school now. He's a star quarterback, and we talk about he's got his goatee and that kind of stuff, but we get a little bit of a catch up of we hear about the son and we hear about her, but no talk about anybody else, and that's like, okay, because they don't want to spoil our mystery. So yeah,
but it was still a neat interesting tie back, because they specifically had the scene where John goes to help her kid throw a football through the tire. He
that was
taught
great.
him some tricks to have better accuracy, and now suddenly the kid is the star quarterback 10 years later. So it was kind of a neat little tie-in.
Cool.
Yeah.
I liked that detail. I thought it was cool.
Wonder if it's anybody we know. The kid's going to grow up to be another character in the universe.
Oh yeah, that's true. That'd be interesting.
So yeah. So we get into the stadium. It's the exact same stadium that the show started off with when they arrived to investigate the murders of the aliens on the football field. We're in that same location, and the sheriff takes John in, and they walk up to what looks to me almost the exact same spot that they were sitting in while they were watching the investigation. There's Hal sitting in the winter. He looks like he's frozen solid, but he's got a bullet hole in his forehead. And John immediately grabs his hand to look for the ring, and the ring isn't there. And you're just like, what the heck is going on here? 10 years later, Hal is dead. He's shot in the head. First of all, how does a lantern get shot in the head? Because he has the ring. You would think he would put up a shield to block it, like we always see, right? Like I got so many questions, and a lot. I'll just rifle through a couple of them here. Why would they show us this anyway at the end of the show? Because at the end of the episode, because is this the end of the show? Is this what we're working towards? We're gonna have say we get 5 seasons of the show, and the 5 seasons are from 2016 to 2026. That's the end of the show. Hal dies, John gets the ring, boof, off we go to the movie universe. I don't know. Why would they show us that? And then, if you have an answer to that first.
Yeah. So basically, they have said that there's going to be the 2016 mystery, and there's going to be the 2026 mystery. There's 2 mysteries this season.
Yeah.
And they've also said they've already got a writer's room working on season 2.
Okay.
That's right.
But like the seasons aren't going to be all this story. So next season will be different,
like a new mystery or something.
The stories in this season will wrap up, but there will be something next season. So, I'm thinking we're going to get to see 2 stories kind of back to back. 2 mysteries, and we may spend more time in one era, one episode, than we do in the other. So we were most of the time in 16 in this era,
right?
In this episode, and so we were a little bit in 26. So I'm wondering if we're
going to get a full 26.
We'll have some that are more in 26, and so I don't know. That
would mean less time for Kyle Chandler because he's dead in the 2026 storyline.
That's what I was just thinking.
So yeah. So
I guess they could show us 2026 leading up to when he gets shot.
We think he's dead.
Oh, well.
Okay. Well, I mean, he's got a bullet hole to the head. I don't know how he's not dead, but okay. If you got some theories, Jeff, maybe I don't know if you have more thoughts.
Well, we know from the trailers that we are dealing with manhunters who are shapeshifters.
Okay, that gives.
That's all I'm saying is that is one of the enemies in this series.
So
they've let us know they are manhunters that are shapeshifters.
So that could be a ruse, and Hal Jordan is maybe held prisoner somewhere or something.
Yeah. So who? Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, we loved it when Arrow did it. Arrow showed us 2 timelines every episode.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't have a problem with it at all. I do think it's fascinating. Although I was feeling like we were getting almost the beginning and the end simultaneously But
Yeah.
if Hal dying, if we're assuming, let's say that that was Hal dying, I was assuming that would be like where the series ended.
That was
However,
my point. Yeah.
Based on what we've been discussing, it sounds like that's probably not the case. So I don't know. It's very intriguing either way.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my other question. You're telling us that after 10 more years, we went from 2016 to 2026, John still isn't trained? So why?
Right?
Yeah,
Like-
I had the same question.
10
Well,
years
we
later.
don't know that he's not trained. He's not been selected because, of course, Hal's still alive, or so we thought.
And we know he's the
Yeah.
backup to the backup. And so
Yeah.
let me finish my point here. So why are they separated and seemingly not in touch with each other anymore? Because John didn't seem to know anything about him, why he's there, because he got called in from out of town. But I guess if this is all connected to what we've seen in Superman with Guy Gardner, that maybe doesn't make any sense either, because apparently that is 2025 Superman, and Guy already has the ring. So unless Hal gives it up before 2025 and just doesn't have it when he's shot in the head, that's the only way I can see this thing lining up in the timeline, because we know Guy Gardner had to have had the ring for a little while to lead into the Superman movie, because he was part of the Justice Society for a while before Superman ever came around. So I feel like this, whether this is Hal or not, I feel like Hal gave up the ring because he's too old, he's too washed up, whatever. He gave it up to Guy before this event happened. So if that is him and he is dead, he doesn't have the ring to protect himself anyway because he already gave it to Guy Gardner. That's what I'm thinking with this whole scenario.
But then why did John check to see if it was on his finger?
Why John doesn't know anything about that? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
don't
part
know.
that bothers me.
Yeah, that all questions that I had is like, why?
Yeah.
Did it? You talked about, Guy was in the comics. Guy was the backup, and then he became the Green Lantern, and then, but
Yeah.
in the official podcast, the video podcast, Tom King says Guy has Hal's ring at the time of the events in 2026. But that, again, that raises questions. Like, what does having it mean? Does that mean he has Hal's ring and he has his own, and he's just keeping the ring for John? Or is Guy's ring Hal's, like it's changed to become, Guy's ring now? And, so, why didn't the ring go to John instead of Guy? I don't know. There's questions.
Well, I think when I brought this all up earlier, I think that's where a lot of the answers came, because Superman is 2025, and if Tom King says Guy has the ring at the time of these events in 2026, this takes place a year after Superman, so he has already had the ring. He's had the ring for a long time. Guy is the backup, so if Hal dies, it makes sense that Guy gets the ring. John isn't the first backup choice, but looking at how this played out, Guy got the ring before Hal died. So did he retire finally, and the ring just went to Guy to be the next Lantern? That's my only real answer to any of this, if that is indeed Hal's body there.
Yeah. It's wild.
It is wild.
I think that's going to be part of the 2026 mystery. Not only,
I think you're right too.
Yeah,
which could be where we see Guy come in. He won't be part of the old flashbacks. He'll be part of the 2026 timeline.
Yeah,
that makes a lot more sense.
Because in the trailer we see Guy Gardner show up at one of their doors, and he's like mad, like, "What are you doing? You shouldn't have done this," or whatever. He says something like that, and that's the only scene we have with him. So we'll have to see what that's all about. All right. Couple extra thoughts that really couldn't fit in anywhere in the show, just some things we're thinking about. So, and actually I did bring this up already, about John driving off the cliff in the beginning. He grabs the ring out of thin air and just instinctively protects himself with green bubble wrap. And as Hal states, that was a test, but John claims he could have died. And that's my point there. What if he couldn't even catch the ring? His car's flying off the cliff, the ring's floating through the air. What if he missed the ring? What if he couldn't think of something in time? Because
what if it would protect him?
Yeah, right?
Well, that's true.
Like,
that's my question. If because we find out he was chosen by the Guardians, if he doesn't catch the ring, if he does get it and he can't think of something, would the ring protect him automatically if he was in imminent danger? And Hal knew that would happen.
Yeah, I think so. Because, if a lantern is flying out, and we talked about this in Justice League, if a lantern's out there flying in space and he gets knocked unconscious or whatever, the ring is going to protect him.
We saw that in the cartoon.
I think it would have protected him, but I think Hal was wanting to see if John would make something cool,
Yeah, that's what he laughed at Bubble Wrap. Yeah.
Okay. Teach him to fly, he's going to instinctively use it to fly. So,
So there wasn't ever any risk.
Well,
not
probably.
really.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because that was another one of those things I pointed out as being reckless. But
yeah,
interesting. Okay.
So now, staying on the point of the ring, if John had it during that 3-mile walk to get to the taco restaurant, and he instinctively was able to create bubble wrap for himself to protect himself, why can't he just instinctively jump into the air and fly with it? We know the ring and the green power is will controlled, so wouldn't it just seem simple to, I will myself to fly, and therefore I'm going to fly? The instinct should be there. No?
Yeah. Maybe he was so out of sorts that he tried, but he couldn't. And maybe it's a block that he feels like he hasn't been trained, and so he's not going to go any further because it's military and his dad. He's in this mindset of, I'm here to be trained. I haven't been trained to do this, therefore I can't. So it's like a mental block. So
yeah, good point.
I could see that. I could see it being kind of like a mental block, and in the heat of the moment, so to speak, it just sort of happens. You just stop thinking, because a lot of times, it's overthinking that is what's stopping you. So that removes that barrier.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my last kind of question, and this is a simple one, maybe you have an answer, maybe it's not. When Hal jumps into the air to fly to Rushville from the taco stand, when he gets the news that there was hail in Rushville, there's no green glow around him like we're used to seeing. How come?
True.
Is it just a choice?
So,
show design choice?
Well, no, it's... So, there is not a need for it to show green around him. So you don't have to have that green glow. The force field can be invisible. So, if you think about, you're going into some place and you are going into danger, are you really wanting to announce yourself coming in as this big green glowing streak into this dangerous situation that you know nothing about? So the deal is, for comic book purposes, yes, it shows that the power is working, but it's not a comic book necessity in there that in order to fly, you have to glow green. So, and I think, that's, yes, it's a stylistic choice, and maybe when we see John start to fly, he's gonna have that green in there. But I think it's more of, Hal has been into a lot of battles, and he's flying into what he doesn't know is what the situation is. I'm not going to announce myself by coming in hot like a green meteor. So that's kind of my thoughts on it.
So basically what you're saying is it's Wonder Woman's jet all over again.
I mean, I think it's more into the fact that Hal doesn't want to wear the suit. He doesn't want to feel like he got to wear the tie. He just is who he is. So I feel like everything about him is muted and toned down, kind of like the set dressing for the show.
Yeah.
To your point, not a lot of color.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, you got a couple questions?
Yeah. So how, have the aliens been in that Rushville area for a while? I mean, we hear that there are, from John in his training, he's found out there's 14 aliens species that can mimic humans and are undetectable to our scans. So how long have they been in the area, and what's their draw to, you know, the middle of the country in Nebraska? What's going on there? That's some of the questions I had. So.
Well, and this is what blows my mind. 14 alien species, and you're trying to think. When Superman arrived, they all thought that was the first alien. Oh my God, aliens exist! Like the world doesn't even know. So now to find out that there's 14 other aliens that are already visiting here that look like human beings, it's opening the door a lot. And you can think even back to like the Supergirl TV show. They had aliens all the time. In there, they had their own alien bar, and they had alien. But like there's a lot of DC's really trying to bring to open the doors to the idea of alien life and all the multiple species that are here on Earth with us, which is something that we're not used to seeing. So it'll be interesting to see how much this show opens up with that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the draw is to Nebraska. Other than like, I mean, they'll probably come up with something like clever, I'm sure, but just, you know, it's the dead middle of the country. It tends to be pretty rural. I don't know.
Well, here's my thought, that there's a connection here with Rushville. It's where Abensur crashed and where Hal got his ring, because Hal's like, just 3 miles out of town is where dead end nowhere where he crashed. He's like, it's a great place for an alien spaceship to crash. So my question is, why are the aliens showing up here? The one in prison said he's here for vengeance. When Hal finally gets him to speak, he says, I'm here for vengeance. And my question to that is, against who? The Lanter Corps? Is there something on Earth that they're, like, human beings, the government, the FBI? Like, what are they here for? Or did they maybe trace Abensur here because Abensur maybe kicked their asses on their planet or something? I don't know. And they just followed his tracks to here, and they're like, okay, where is he? But they're seeing other lanterns. I don't know. That's where my kind of theories are going.
Yeah. Good questions.
Yeah.
Did we answer anything for the show tonight? Did we come up with anything, or were we just asked so many questions?
We have some theories.
Okay.
So.
We have a lot of theories. Who knows if they're right? I guess we'll find out.
I guess we'll find out how good. I mean, we got 12 years of instincts here, so let's see if we're starting to get good at this stuff.
I know. Let's see. See what we get right.
Yeah. All right, well, let's pause for our ad break here, and when we come back, it'll be time for favorite scenes.
Shape out an eagle!
All right, favorite scene times. And Harley, it looks like you are up first.
Hey! I so very rarely pick one at the beginning of an episode, but today I picked aliens! All aliens.
All right, so before we actually play the favorite scenes, I just want to put a warning out there, a little disclaimer. There is swearing in these clips. They drop the F-bomb so many times during the show that I just can't edit it all or find it all or whatever, getting my sound clips. So just be warned, you're going to hear the F-bomb in these clips. Here we go.
I don't get it. You flew all the way here just to ride the bench.
The answer to that mystery is heading right to you. Sheriff Kane, John Stewart.
Carrie.
John, training under Hal.
What an honor. Because it was certainly an honor to meet him when he arrived. You don't have jurisdiction.
We don't have jurisdiction.
You don't.
I will.
I can't do this again. Look, you're a big shot. Noted. But your jurisdiction only covers extraterrestrial events. This is pretty much the definition of terrestrial.
These victims are going to end up being alien.
Based on what?
I have a feeling.
He has a feeling.
I have a very strong feeling.
Well, then by all means, the scene is yours.
Well, it seems kind of mellow for a mass shooting, don't you think?
They're in shock.
Or nobody knows the victims. Does anybody seem extra upset to you down there? You see anybody standing with the bodies? Say it with me now. aliens.
Look, I know you think you're helping, but you need to trust me. These people are my friends. They're my neighbors. They understand your job. They know we're not alone. But there's a difference between hearing that on CNN and seeing it up close. If it ends up being the case, we'll deal with it. But until then, I'm trying to keep the scene calm. So if you could do me a favor, keep away from the news fans. It was nice to meet you. Now, if you'll both kindly stay the fuck out of my way.
She's something incredible, isn't she?
I think she hates your guts.
Yeah, but it's the way she hates them.
I wanted something that kind of showcased the sheriff. Of all of the people in this episode, I found her the most likable. And I love that she is just very strong and no nonsense and just is telling Hal what he can do with himself at every turn.
Yeah. I was laughing because they've taken, you know, the ancient History Channel ancient aliens, you know, meme, and they've got Hal instead of him. Aliens.
Exactly.
Are you sure you want to cover the show, Jess? I mean, you don't like anybody on it yet.
No, but I am intrigued.
Yeah.
I'm sure I will like someone by the end of the
It's
season.
fun to hate people sometimes too. You know, that's part of
It
it.
is.
When you hate, there's characters you love to hate. That's fun too.
I just find them a bit unlikable right now. But I love the sheriff, so here we go.
we said that about John Stewart in the cartoon. He was unlikable for the first 2 seasons.
100%. That's why I said I'm really, really feeling like a callback here. So.
All right, I'm up next, and this is Hal and John in the bar when Hal actually gives us the version of his origin story, which I thought was fun to actually hear him say it. So here's Hal's story.
Tell me how you got it. The ring.
You know how I got it.
Yeah, but I mean, what I know can't be true, right?
Well, I got it the old-fashioned way. I sure as hell didn't interview for it.
Oh, well, shit, maybe you should have. I mean, power like that, shouldn't you have to work for it? Excel, prove yourself, instead of just getting randomly selected?
Why do you give a shit how I got my ring?
Because I think that's why we're in goddamn Nebraska.
I was a couple years into being a test pilot. Middle of the night, sleeping off about 9 too many, still have my boots and jeans on. All of a sudden, my room starts to vibrate. I open my eyes. Oh, big fucking bubble. A big fucking green bubble. This green bubble floats me up out of bed. Next thing I know, there's a voice running through my entire body. Bones, teeth, heart, the whole deal. And it says to me, "You afraid?" I say no. I'm not afraid. Yanks me out the window across the sky like a fish getting reeled in. A couple hundred miles in about 10 seconds. I fly fighter jets. I have an excellent sense of airspeed and bearing. That's how I know exactly where that green bubble set me down.
Nebraska.
Not more than 20 miles from where we sit right now, which is middle of fucking nowhere. Thus an excellent place to crash a spaceship. There he was, right in front of me. The pilot. Bona fide fucking alien. Pink and bald, coughing up glow-in-the-dark blood. Yeah, pretty fucking intense.
I mean, you see what I mean? I can't edit out all the swearing. It's just too much. It'd be, "Hi, my name's Beep, and my name's Beep, and I did this today, Beep." Oh my gosh, it would never get through it. It'd be annoying. But anyway, I just thought it was kind of fun to hear the story, and it's the story we all know, so it was pretty cool. All right, X-Force.
I call this one Hal Questions the Alien, so let's take a listen.
Let's say you're right.
Oh, fuck.
Let's say hypothetically that I'm not of this salty, smelly world, a visitor who went to great trouble to hide himself well. and learn the arcane rules of pointless contests involving balls that somehow captivate more attention than the deteriorating atmosphere or the hunger of its least fortunate people. If I had gone to such lengths, I would be here for a very important purpose, a purpose that required great discretion and secrecy, a purpose that would need to be kept from the likes of a galactic peacekeeping organization, because it concerns the exact opposite of peace, that being war. And as such, if I were to fall into the hands of such an organization, I would be forced to take drastic measures to ensure that my purpose was not revealed. Hypothetically.
And hypothetically, what might you have to keep your mouth shut? Cyanide pill?
You're thinking very small.
Then give it to me big.
I'd have a biometric neutron device woven into my skeleton. I'd be able to activate it with a thought. Unless you let me walk out that door right now.
He's bluffing, right?
You're not walking out of here, hypothetically or otherwise. If you do blow yourself up, I'm just gonna bubble up and contain all that sunshine with my ring and walk out of here without a scratch.
You've been here 48 hours. Did you bring the lantern to recharge your ring?
I have plenty of power.
But for how much longer? Yeah. You should be asking yourself if I'm capable of releasing enough energy to eradicate this entire town.
We talking or exploding because it's almost lunchtime.
It almost seems like you want to die, Hal Jordan. Does that not violate your precious oath? In brightest day and blackest night.
Don't.
No evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light.
Harry Potter went to Hogwarts, you ignorant alien fuck.
Are you beeping?
Should we go? We should go.
It's too late.
Why are you here?
Why out? Vengeance.
And then boom. Yeah. There's a lot he actually says in there we didn't even bring up in the show. Like, he's talking about the Earth, the stinky, salty planet, and where the inhabitants care more about a weird-shaped ball than they do about the misfortunate people of the planet and taking care of the atmosphere and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, we're here to, are we either going to start a war or are we here to prevent a war? Like, he says a lot. So I'm wondering what it is he's talking about on a galactic scale. Are the aliens coming here to stop a war or to start a war? Like, it sounds like that this is going to be something huge.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I hope it goes that way because I think for me, I don't want an entire season of a Lanterns show to be true crime. We're just in this dirty small town solving mystery after mystery. I want it to explode on a galactic scale. I want it to get big and have lots of powers and lots of spacefaring adventure. Like, I that's what I expect out of the Lantern story. I don't want it to be grounded the entire time.
Yeah, we'll see how they balance it out. So,
I mean, they're in the trailer. They do show a spaceship somewhere else in the universe, so it looks like there might be some space travel sometime.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, cool. Those are some fun scenes. We're going to remind you guys how you can support the show, and that is through Patreon, and how you get there to help cover the cost of the show. This is what you do.
If you'd like to support our podcast, you can do so at our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/tomorrowslegends.
If you don't dial it, we'll cry like a violin. Feedback.
All right. We have got 2 feedbacks from, these guys. We've never heard from them before. They're never on the show.
Brand new.
Some guy called Comic Geek Kev. I mean, is that a lantern? I don't know what that is. But let's hear what he has to say.
Good morning, Lanterns Legends. So we finally have our Lanterns premiere. I don't know how long we've been talking about this. And I hope we can now put an end to the endless social media consternation. Right? Right? I mean, right? No? Okay. Once again, the internet has done its level best to ruin a good thing. I really enjoyed the show, starting with the relationship between Hal and John. Have we seen this kind of interaction before? Not really. Is that okay? Yes, absolutely. New is fine, even good. All those comic book stories are still out there if that's what you want to see. But this is, I mean, I liked it a lot. I know there have been some questions about why are there multiple Green Lanterns on Earth at one time. Well, honestly, this isn't really new. It's happened in the comics before. In the last couple decades, at any given time, there's probably at least two. But from what I can tell, this show is going in the direction of one ring only. So I don't think we will see more than one actual Green Lantern, or at least Earth Green Lantern at one time.
Yeah.
So when we see Guy in Superman, he's the only Lantern at that time, as far as I know. I'm gathering this from the quote-unquote official podcast. They don't specifically say that, but they certainly hinted at it. But again, there have been times when there's been more than one active Lantern at a time on Earth, and I could also be totally wrong. I love the effects. They've got some HBO money. I think that shows. And I like that they started off small with like the money, the can opener, the lighter, and ended up with the shield, the bubble shield at the police station as sort of a build-up to a little more of what the ring does. No, we don't need to see the green aura around him when he flies. That's from the cartoons. It's in some of the comics too, but it's generally when he's in space or needs protection. I've also seen some people having issues with John having a hookup. He's a pretty tightly wound guy and just needed some release. He's very regimented and controlled, and I think just needs to loosen up a bit. And of course, it's the wife of the guy who's obviously up to some shady shenanigans. I do like the cast, and that Macon, William Macon, he's definitely bad news. You don't get Garrett Dillahunt to play a nobody in a big show like this. You just don't. Mm-hmm. Overall, I'm giving the pilot 9 out of 10. I'm loving the characters and the overall writing and the story. Aaron Pierre is amazing as John. I think he's like perfect. And Kyle Chandler does a great, like, well-worn, somewhat cynical Hal who doesn't want to give up the ring. I was never that concerned about it being more earthbound. That's pretty much all they showed in the first trailers. But it seems like we're definitely going to get to see some space shenanigans and some more ring action. So I am all in. Until next time, this is Comic Geek Kev, turning the page.
All right.
Nice stuff, yeah.
It's funny he picked on the points, though, we were bringing up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
Funny stuff. All right, next up is an email from some dude named Perry White. Harley, you're good at reading Perry. What's he have to say?
Hey, Legends of Oa, Perry here. I was going to send a voicemail, but frankly, how many times can you just say wow? So for the second time, holy frickin' wow. This pilot does everything it needs to do. It drops you straight into the story and trusts the audience to catch up. It sprinkles in plot without being plotting. It gives you mysterious breadcrumbs to propel the story and makes you guess what's next. And Hal and John hold it all together with great chemistry. 2 scenes stood out for me for different reasons. First, John seems pretty pragmatic and doesn't seem prone to jumping the bones of a cougar at a bar. Sure, it leads to tension between him and the rancher's wife, but it doesn't make sense with what we know about John so far. And let's be honest, Aaron is a great-looking dude, so we know this ain't the first time he's been propositioned by a lady at a bar. He would know how to turn them down. I agree with him. By the way,
one point though, like, yes, he's a good-looking guy. He's in great shape in the show. Have you seen his IMDb profile picture? No. He looks like Urkel from, like, the nerdiest guy you've ever seen. Great big thick glasses and the big ear-to-ear teethy smile. I'm like, who is that guy? He is way too nerdy to be John Stewart. Check him out. It's really funny. It's so funny.
All right. By the way, say what you will about Gunn's DCU, but his characters aren't eunuchs. They get it in. I'm pretty sure only 3 Marvel characters have ever had sex, and Tony Stark did it with both of them. Thanks, Perry, for keeping it real. Okay, on to my favorite scene. It was Hal's interrogation. It's absolutely brilliant that Hal proved that guy was an alien by demonstrating that he was not a typical redneck Nebraska hick in 1996 who hated Obama. Strangely, it makes me wonder if we'll find out at the end that the aliens are not evil.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, based on what I already said about them, right? Like, what are they here for?
I know. Folks, I'm just so intrigued by this show. I'm giving this pilot 9 gunshots at a little kid's apple-sitting head out of 10. And really, though, are we supposed to like John's dad? He seems like a whole lot of psycho. Okay, that's all I got. This has been Perry White, making another deadline in every time period. Great Caesar's Ghost.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
How was my Perry channeling tonight?
There you go. That's
nice.
what I mean. You're good at it, so.
Thanks.
Awesome stuff, fellas. So if we do have new listeners of the show, this is how you can get feedback in to be part of it, because we really want to hear from people. We'd love to have tons of feedback every week, so here's how you do that.
If you would like to be a part of the show, you can send in your feedback to Tomorrow's Legends Podcast at gmail.com. You can also reach us on Twitter at Tomorrow's Legends. We'd love you to join our Facebook page at facebook.com/groups/Tomorrow's Legends and become part of the community.
All right. Well, next week, I guess it airs Sunday nights, right? So the new episode is actually on tomorrow.
Yep.
So
tomorrow's
episode is called Trustfall, as John Stewart confronts the aftermath of the premier's stunning final discovery and begins unraveling a mystery that has suddenly become deeply personal. Episode 2 continues the series' Earthbound investigation while testing how much John can trust what Hal Jordan taught him, what happened in Rushville, and the people who may know more than they are saying. So that is what airs tomorrow night. If you guys get time to listen to us before that episode, great. If not, well, you got a week, and then you also got a week to get in feedback for episode 2. So that is where we are at. We will try to record on Fridays most of the time. It's just that, Flash is in a busy period. I had my baseball playoffs this weekend, so I was unavailable. And that is that. So, yeah, everybody, have a great rest of your weekend and a good start to your week. We'll talk to you guys soon. This is The Flash, signing off.
And this is Harley Quinn. I'm out.
This is X-Force 11. So say we all.
Tomorrow's Legends is not affiliated with CBS, Warner Brothers, HBO, or the CW. We're a fan-made podcast for entertainment purposes only and are part of the Cybercast Network. Be sure to check out our partner shows, The Mandalore and Dive into DC, covering your favorite Star Wars and DC Comics properties. Thanks for listening.